Hello, everyone. I am Sandra Anne Taylor, and I'm so happy to be here today with a special interview with a really special author. I myself am an author of many books, including the Akashic Records Made Easy and also card decks, my most recent one being the Energy and Spirit Oracle. And I was so delighted when I had the opportunity to be an interviewer for David Wells. He's an incredible author, and believe it or not, until I found out about his newest deck, I hadn't heard of him. Of course, I'm on the other side of the pond. You know, we're the colonists. So I am so glad that this happened and that we have an opportunity to talk here. Now, David is an author, an astrologer, a past life therapist, has all sorts of great information, couple books like the Qabalah Made Easy and 21 Days to Qabalah, and so much beauty in this new deck of his. I am so happy to introduce David. And before we get started, though, David, I have to tell people that this deck, there's Kabbalah in it and all sorts of different things, numerology, astrology, great stuff. But you don't have to know any of those things to love this deck. And we're going to be talking about those practices and the meanings of the cards. So welcome, David.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Thank you so much for talking to me. I'm so honored. Thank you.
Sure. Now, I have to tell you, when I got the deck of cards, I had no exposure to Kabbalah. I mean, I knew about it, and frankly, my husband is very much into it, and he has a diagram of the Tree of Life in one of our rooms in the home, but I
Wow.
never understood it, and I never looked into it. But when I saw your cards, I went crazy with the art is so compelling, and the meanings can be told even through the art and the titles and the subtitles. So I had to get your books about the Kabbalah, and I can see where that inspired you and the cards. But tell me more about how this deck came into being, because it's such an interesting compilation of so many different beautiful practices.
I've been talking to Hay House about various ideas with cards, and I think what I really wanted, was a way to show people that it's not something that they should be really wary of. People see the symbol or they hear the words and they think it's really complicated. And when you break it down to the astrology and to the tarot, to the shapes, to the simplicity of the symbol of the tree itself, I think that's the beauty of it. And there was a sequence of events where the artist's name kept popping up, and it kept sort of, I don't know, I kept seeing her work on Facebook and on Instagram, and then people said, "Have you seen this artist?" Because everybody knew I was looking for an artist. And then when I know Hay House had approached her, I was biting my nails thinking, please say yes, please say yes. And I was thrilled because she's a shamanistic practitioner herself, so I can't tell you, honestly, Sandy, it was like, so I would give the images according to how I felt them, how I knew them to be from meditations. And every time when the sketch came through, first of all, because she paints them, she hand paints them, the sketch came through, I was like, this is really nice. Yeah, and then she added the colors, and I've seen the process she goes through. I have one of the cards in my office, and I think it's the vibrancy of they're just so energetically right. The colors are no accidents either. The colors are given colors for those path workings. So I think that adds to the magic.
Yeah, I agree. And, as Louise Hay always used to say, that all is in divine order. And it certainly seems like it was in divine order and divine
Definitely.
guidance that you were brought together with this artist. Can I
Certainly.
show the cover of your book and just
Of
talk a
course.
bit about the title? This is the cover of the guidebook that goes with David's beautiful deck of cards, and it's called the Tree of Life Oracle. And I see here it has that almost sacred. It is sacred geometry in my mind, and that's on the poster my husband has. Can you just speak to the title and that meaning, please?
Yeah, the tree of life is the central symbol for the understanding, and the way I was taught Kabbalah was through this symbol. So, we all know that symbolism works where our thinking brain can't go. A symbol can tell you a million things. A flag, just look at a flag, and you get lots of information. So it's the same with this.
Yeah,
and when people see the symbol,
really
you can see the
fascinated with
geometric.
me. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You can see the geometric shapes and the circles and things.
Yeah.
They all have a reference point, basically.
They do. And when you first look at the tree of life with the different triangles and everything like that, it's hard to take in. But when you look at your individual cards, it brings in the individual, pieces of geometry and different messages. And it's so easy to absorb. And even if you don't intellectually get it, there's something by osmosis that just,
Yeah.
I even touched the cards, and it was a phenomenal experience. So do you think, this deck to me represents the tree of life, certainly, but I think it adds so many elements. It goes even deeper. What do you want to say about that? I feel it.
Yeah, I think it does. It does certainly represent the tree of life, and the way it's divided, the big circles are called Sephara or Sephiroth. Sephiroth is plural. So think of those as planets, huge planets, and then the linking pathways. They're the major arcana of the tarot. So if you have any astrology knowledge or any tarot knowledge, you will recognize those references. But again, like you said, you don't have to, because each path speaks to itself. And if you think about the cards as literally as a path working, which is an ancient technique where you can journey with them and attract the energy of the card to you. And then if you are an astrologer or a taronista, then you can take your chart, you can place the cards in the placements of the chart and then the planets, and you can see a visual representation, a beautiful visual representation of your chart. And it's a magical thing to see. It just gives you more things to say, more things to look at in reference to your astrology and to your tarot.
And what I related to, and once I started reading some of your other stuff and getting more into the symbolism, is it's kind of like the tree of life is like a tree in that there are different parts of it that represent different parts of our lives, the roots, the trunk, the leaves, the whatever blossoms, if there are some, the falling leaves. They're so beautiful in terms of how we can use these cards to understand what phase of life or what stage we are in, even in an individual project. And you talk about the paths, and I pulled a couple path cards. Do you mind if we look at them and talk about the meaning?
No, definitely.
Okay. The first one I love. I loved them all. But this is 19th path, and it is called Strength. And this is interesting to me. I never connected it with lust, but I love that. And if you can see, if our viewers can see, the wonderful, gentle energy of the man sitting with the lions and this beautiful golden chalice. And there's such a sense of peace. And I have to tell you that, David, that when I teach my cards and in my card books, I always talk about doing a one card pull for the day or for a certain project or something like that. And I was dealing with something very specific in my family, and I decided to do a one card pull, and this is the card that I got. And I want to tell the viewers the subtitle. And so this is another reason why you don't have to worry about knowing all these very esoteric practices. It says defending the weak, peacekeeping, and sincerity. And I was having some deals with with some issues about my family. And this card was my one card pull. And I have to tell you, it brought me so much peace and a realization of the intention to bring peace. And this card was like, just on itself, just on the title. And I saw it as Daniel in the lion's den and dealing with the family energy. Sometimes we feel like we're in a lion's den. And I felt this just shifted all the energy. It was so beautiful. So,
Good.
can you just speak to this card? And when you call it a path, the 19th path, can you just speak to that for a bit?
Yeah, sure. So the pathways show up on the tree as links between those spheres, between the Saphara. So when you walk this path, you're walking actually from, as you climb the tree, you're walking from a place that is, it's Mars. It feels intense. It feels very karmic. It feels like the pressure of karma's on you, but you're heading towards Jupiter, to Hesed. So you're heading towards a place that is, you're coming from that warring side, if you like, to the peaceful side. So you're moving towards that mastership of owning it, owning and understanding that sometimes we move into anger, but the way through it is through peace. And what I loved about this card, and I because I have references in my own head of older tarot systems, and I wanted to, you want to honor things, and this card is often seen as someone wrestling a lion, like, and often pulling its mouth open, or some kind of thing, and that always felt a bit kind of like, whoa, that poor lion. So this, for me, when I thought about Daniel
Yeah.
and in the lion's den, it felt so much more peaceful, and yet still that power, still the energy to overcome it, to deal with what I think would be a pretty frightening situation if you're thrown into a lion's den.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm glad you felt that. That really, and I'd love to hear when people say that this was happening, and I pulled the card and it was so relevant. I love that because it means we've knitted the magic in. That's always for me the thing. I want to knit the magic into the card.
And I'm telling you, that's what happened. As you said, it wasn't the aggressive energy. He was sitting there peaceful. And that just feeling the energy, reading the title, even touching the card. I do that a lot when I do readings. I felt the shift, and it was clear. And the card is called a path. And I realized I was following the wrong path. I was trying to be, defensive or whatever. And now, and believe it or not, on that day, everything shifted after that. Once you bring your intention to it, and I'll tell you, that card changed my intention. So thank you, thank you. I have
Thank you.
another path card that I love that matches something in the tarot. And I love that this is a female magician. This is the 12th
Oh,
path, and it's the magician. And the subtitle is Magic, Divine Mind, and Intent. And I love all of the little accoutrements. She's got, it looks like a paintbrush, and there might be a sword, and there's beautiful butterflies. The chalice is there too, growing plants. And look again, the sacred geometry all up through her body. Talk to us about this one. I love this one as well. And it matches the magician, but to me, it speaks so much more clearly than, let's say, the Rider-Waite magician.
yeah, it's a beautiful card. It's one of my favorite cards. She has everything she needs around her. It's all there, and she's choosing what to use in what circumstance. She knows how to call it in. Her intentions are very clear. The affirmation she holds is her wand, her power. And there was absolutely no question when I was thinking about this card that she should be female. It was instant. She was right in front of me from the get-go, you know. She moves in the path that she moves in. She moves from Bina, which is an intensely feminine place, up to the Godhead. So she's not fierce as in, there are fiercer cards in the deck for sure, but she is
Yeah.
powerful. She's deeply powerful, deeply magical. And the magician part of her is her ability to call, basically to reach out. I need this. this is what I'm going to use. And she has those four elemental magical tools. So she has the sword, the disc, the wand, the cup, which are in practical magic. They represent earth, air, fire, and water. So she has all of that going on with her as well. And, it's a very mercurial card
And
too.
it is very mercurial, and it's so beautiful to have her have the power, but not be aggressive. It indicates, that sometimes some people believe that you have to be male energy, even if you're a female, you have to be that aggressive, masculine energy to have the power. And that was one of the reasons I really like that card, because it brings us a personal identity that says, okay, you can have all the power and have all the utilities that you need to make something happen. So I just want to have one more path card that I want to talk about before we go on to the elements. And I just love all these cards, so I have to bring them up. So this one is the 21st path, the Wheel of Fortune. And it's so different than the Wheel of Fortune in Rider Waite. I just love it. And the subtitle is Fortune, Quest, and Abundance. And I love it because, first of all, the woman it's almost like a steering wheel on a ship. And she's holding onto it, yet she's blindfolded. It's like she has control of what the direction of her destiny may be, and yet we don't always see what the outcome is going to be. So I felt that was so beautiful. And then there are these little girls and little creatures on the wheel. Tell us about that.
She's Fortuna. She's the goddess Fortuna, and she's blindfolded to decide our fates. So she therefore can't be influenced. She has the wheel of fate spinning, but she can't be influenced because she can't. She can't see who's swinging off it and who's like sitting on top of it.
Right.
But the pathway, that pathway is so beautiful because it does have all those things in it. And I think for me, when I was doing the path workings in my training, the quest element in this card was really, really important because it's going on that quest to find what offers you abundance. And sometimes the wheel will turn just as you think you're going to get there. And okay, I have to learn a new skill to stay on top of this, and I do love that card. And Fortuna, because each card I meditated and I spent time, and some of them were very quick to come through, and others I was struggling and arguing with myself, all this stuff you do. But Fortuna just woomphed straight, like the magician. Fortuna just came straight in, and there was no question.
Oh, that's wonderful. And it feels so direct. But it's so true what you said about sometimes the Wheel of Fortune turns and we need to adjust our plans, our energies, our consciousness. And I think this, gives us a sense of power to do that. Like, okay, things are shifting. It doesn't mean I lose control. I love that. I love that.
Absolutely.
All right. So the next card I want to talk about and I want to talk about all the elements because there's only 4 of them, but I want to bring in these powerful pictures and talk about the intentions behind the elements. And the first one is this incredibly dynamic card called the element of fire. And look at that powerful being, and look at the sacred geometry right above his heart center. And the flames are there, and the dragon is there. And the subtitle is Passion, Enthusiasm, and Creation. And you can see the sun. It's such a beautiful, empowering card. And if you're working on a creative project, even just looking at this card can inspire you. Tell me a little bit about the energy behind this element of fire.
So in Qabalah, we have 4 elemental rulers. They used to be, they're traditionally called 4 elemental kings. You will know one coming up is not a king. So this is Dijin. This element of fire is enthusiasm. It is that creative joy. It's a spark of the beginning of a creation and the maintaining of it. And I think the elemental triangle that's on his chest tells you, he is fire. And I wanted to bring the elemental animals, so the dragons, etc., etc. And I think it's so important that we
Yeah.
honor the elements. They're the four building blocks that we have in the world, on an earthly level. Those four building blocks are so important. So, yeah, he is, again, another card when I saw it, I thought, wow, so excited.
Yes, me too. That was great. And I noticed with all the elements, each one has a compass in the corner and the
Yeah.
direction that this element is in. Was never aware that elements had a certain direction on the globe or certain direction in life. And this is south. And let me pull up the next one, the element of earth, also a beautiful card. Look, we have gnomes, or I don't know what these little men creatures are. And this is the element of earth. And the subtitle is a practical, grounded, determined. And he has a shield and all of these other beings around him that can be, I don't know if they're guarding him or protecting him or just assisting him with some inspiration. Now, his direction is north on the compass. Tell me about what that is, what you think about that.
Yeah, so the Earth cards, so each of them does have a direction, you're right. And we use them we would use them in practical magic, so in ritual magic to enhance our meditations, etc. If we're doing temple workings, they would be in the relevant quarter. So this being is called Gobe, Ghobe, and he would be in the north, and he is the protector of the element of Earth. Around him, you're right, they are gnome-like creatures, and they are there to assist and to help. And you will see in the fire card that there's little sparks and they're salamanders. So every king has his court, really. So there's a lot going on in these elemental
Yeah,
cards. There's direction, there's the
I
king,
didn't
there's the
notice that in
court,
the
there's the
fire.
colors. Yeah. Yeah. So
And there's a
every
wonderful
single one of
clear
them
on
has got.
each one. Yeah, it's great.
Sorry.
It's great. And then I just want, yeah, then I just want to finish the elements because each one is so beautiful. And here's the element of water. So
Mhm.
beautiful, so dynamic. And the subtitle is Intuition, of course. Water is, to me, is intuition, emotions,
Yeah.
of course, and love. And look at that,
Mhm.
everybody. This is so the embodiment of love. And it doesn't feel romantic love, but I'm sure it can represent romantic love. And there are
Yeah.
beings in the water with her. And I just feel like there's a flow of love all around her. Now, the direction is west. And so,
Yeah.
tell us about that.
Yeah, so this is Nixa, often seen as so traditionally one of the four kings, but I just felt, come on, this has to be, and some, I think Israel Regarded refers as she. So she has then these beautiful undines and sea nymphs, and that's her attendants, if you like. And in the west is where she would normally sit. It's also worth noting that the water will be all the water signs of the zodiac. The air, earth, fire will be the relevant
Yeah.
signs too in the zodiac. So if you're a water sign, then this would be your card. It's a beautiful card.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
just
it's beautiful.
there
It's
is the magic,
beautiful.
and because she has the cup, because the cup is the elemental tool
Yes.
for water. So
Hmm.
so they all have their own elemental tools as well.
Yeah.
And the final one is, of course, air.
And yes, and here
The
it
final
is.
card is air.
Here is air. And the subtitle is Thoughts, Mind, Communication. And man, does he have his kingdom as well, from butterflies to nymphs and elves, and his direction is
Hmm.
east. And there's a
Hmm.
powerful energy of reaching out in this. And it makes sense that it would be communication because even our thoughts can reach out into the universe and communicate intentions and important energies to other people that we might not even know. And I felt like that was part of the intention of this card.
Yeah, it definitely is that intention. I think this is the fact that we can communicate and we can actually communicate quite clearly. We have a voice. It's not the only way we communicate, but we can talk and be
Mm-hmm.
understood. Well, most of the time, right? But I think the element of air in the colors in this card are cool as well. So it's a logical place, and it's Gemini's, it's Libras, it's Aquarius, and if you feel, so say you feel as if you just need some fire. You put the fire card on your altar, or you put it somewhere you can see it, somewhere that, during the day, if you need that fire, it will just remind you. Or you could, for example, with this card in the East, if you know where East is in your house, you could put airy things there if you need to draw. You can put the card there, but you could put yellows and blues and feathers and things.
Oh my God, that's such a great idea. I never thought of that. What feng shui to bring that energy
Yeah.
into that direction of your life. I love that. I love that. And I'm
Yeah.
constantly telling people, I have a lot of angels in my decks, and I tell them, if you need the assistance or this kind of power from this angel, put it out, put it where you can see it, put the card, talk to the angel, invite the energies. And so that's exactly the type of thing that I would do. And now I'm so glad you told me to put it in the direction, because I will definitely be doing that. These are such great
Yeah.
element cards. Can we switch a little bit to? I would like to talk to the Tree of Life and the triangle cards. Because that may be a little more abstract to some people, and I wanted to introduce it so people could see that it's not too esoteric. So here is the Tree of Life card, and it has the grid of the Tree of Life from Qabalah, and the subtitle is Map Support Connection. Um, is the connection made with all of these different symbols, and throughout you can see the matching points in the chakras of this person? Tell me about that connection.
Yeah, the tree. If you so when you work with it on a personal basis, you sit with it behind you, so it's on your back basically. Although we're looking at this person, to them it would be the other way around; it'd be on their back. So the chakras
Oh,
do
okay,
run
good.
down
Good to
through
know.
the they run down through the central, through the middle pillar. So you will see there's three distinct pillars really, as left, right, middle. And the energy running through the middle pillar is where we want to be. We want to be in that state of balance, because if you took one single sphere away, one single path away, you just took one element off of that symbol, the whole thing would come crashing down. So what this is saying is that this map is inherent in all of us, whether we know it or not. We have this map inside of us, and I think I do understand what you're saying. I was very torn between trying to keep it very simple, but equally to honor and introduce a symbol, because I think that was important. But I
Oh,
think
yes.
when you feel, yeah, when you feel it as a map. And actually, you know what, Sandy, a lot of people say to me, I have seen this symbol so many times. It feels very familiar, but I don't know. I didn't understand it. Some people have dreamt about it. They've seen it in places and they've just been drawn to it.
What?
It is around an awful lot. It's around more. It's one of those things that's the law of reflection, isn't it? As soon as you say red bus, you see red buses everywhere. So when you say Qabalah and
Right.
the Tree of Life, you will see it everywhere.
Mhm. But to me, it represented a holistic view, like you said. And I just want to, I'm not going to point them out individually. I just want to show the three um, uh, triangles. There's the personality triangle, and that subtitle
Hmm.
is Personality, Nature, and Mindfulness. That seems to be part of the tree. The spiritual triangle, which is divinity, creation, and manifestation. And the last triangle, the soul's triangle, the mystical soul led harmony. So, when you get these different triangles, and you can see them, this one has the triangle at the top, this one has the triangle at the bottom, and this one goes through the whole thing right to the source, the top. When you see these three together or individually, is that does that direct you then to one of the path cards? What is the connection there?
You could use, you could certainly say, okay, there's 3 points here, so the Sephara cards might be better to use on these ones because you will see that there are the three circles that form the triangle. Then you can, yes, introduce the paths. So you could look at the paths that join the triangles together, and it's really interesting because, like in the personality one, the path that joins the top of the triangle is the Tower card. And that's our thoughts and our emotions. And it runs between Hod and Netzach, which are two of the Sepharas. So that's our logical brain and our emotive feeling side of our nature. And the tower path in traditional tarot is the one that crumbles when we get too thinky or too feely and we can't balance it and we can't communicate properly. And, so it begins to make sense, I think, as you work with them.
It does. I'll tell
But it's
you
a great
what,
idea.
I didn't notice. Yeah, I didn't notice that. You're so right. The little images on the side are people doing very logical things, working on a computer, eating, even things that are normal parts of daily life, and
Personality.
that makes sense. What you said. It's a beautiful personality. It's all a part of our personality. So I just want to mention just a few more cards that represent stuff from the Rider-Waite tarot, which I cut my teeth on. I was in my teens when I started reading the Rider-Waite. Now, I want to show the victory card. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And is that Netzach? There you have numbers and then a name and then the title, victory, and the subtitle is Hope, Love, and Art. Look at how beautiful this card is. And that Netzach, is that a name for the card? Is it a name? Is it a divinity name? What is that?
Netzach is the name of the Sephara. So the circle, each one will have a name. So it starts at Kether at the top to Malkuth at the bottom. And they all have these names, which I know people may not be familiar with. But if you think about the planetary power here, you will see that this is Venus. She is, the goddess here has Venus on her, and she's holding a mirror up in the shape of the astrological symbol for Venus. So these there's astrology in the past, but these Sephara cards, Sephiroth cards, are all astrologically leaning towards the planet. That card is just, it's everything that Netzach is. It's raw nature in tooth and claw. Those leopards are incredible. One is very peaceful and gentle, and the other one is like, what's going on? I need to have a word. So it's, it is that, this and once you know that this is victory, and it's actually victory over your feelings. So it's being victorious, and you can feel it, you can do it, and you can work with it. And some days you feel a bit like the gnarly one, but you can turn that into the peaceful one. You're the one in charge. And also, if you're an astrologer, that will direct you to Venus in someone's charts. If this comes up, you're going to be directed towards Venus.
It's beautiful, and it does direct you.
It is beautiful.
There's an energy, I do want to mention that you don't have to know the names, even though it might be a foreign name to me. The victory and the subtitle, it totally brought it in, and the picture brought it in here. Now, here's another one that's like from the tarot, and it's the Lovers, but this is a path card, the 17th path. Humor, choices, intelligence. And that's a beautiful card too. There's such a connection here. And again, it looks like we have a sword and an astrology symbol. And is that a chalice or am I misunderstanding? Yeah.
Probably. It is. It's so this card, the Lover's card, is Gemini. So the two becoming one, and really if you look very closely at the top of so if you look at this card, what I wanted and what I think Roberta has captured is they are starting to melt into each other. They're the same being, and they're starting just to melt into each other because they're yeah, they're in such simpatico that is there. It's also a card of choices. It's making choices, this card, but it's for me, knowing the path working of the tarot are I say to people they're sisters, not twins. So they're very similar, but not the same. This path working, when when you work it, it's finding your other half. It's finding that part of you that is so melts into you. You become. I don't,
Yes.
when you're in a relationship, I don't think you should be the same being, but it feels like there is
Right.
a
Right.
mixing of those beings. And magically, it can also mean, of course, the mixing of your divine feminine, your divine masculine.
Right, right. Within yourself. And in a relationship,
Yeah,
it could be a binding of intentions, like the shared kindred intentions and feelings
yeah.
of uh, almost of a synchronicity of spirit where you relate to each other in that way. So I just want to bring up one more card, and this is 28th Path, the Star, Hope, Inspiration, and Dreams. Another beautiful card that is similar to
Isn't it
something in the
just? Yeah.
tarot. Um, isn't it beautiful? I just love this.
Yeah.
She's pouring
It's
water
one of the
from one
first
chalice
ones.
to another.
Yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
It's one of the first cards that was. It was one of the first cards that Roberta did. This one and the Hod card were the first two cards she did, and I wanted it. I wanted one of the first ones to be the Star because I felt that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to bring down that divine communication, that divine nature, which is the Star card. Now, I always think of the Star card. It's very Pandora's box, isn't it? It's like no matter what's going on, here's hope. There is hope here. And the star path is that link between heaven and earth, which is why she's pouring from one cup to the other. And she has her feet on the ground, but her
Uh-huh.
feet in water. And it's just, and the
Right.
colors are from the path. They're just, they're warming, and yet they're also stimulating. It's an odd thing. They can warm. They feel warming, but they're, for me, it makes your brain work too. It makes you feel okay. Anything is possible. Is that card?
Uh-huh. And it makes you feel one with the night star, with the night sky. And you know that star is
Absolutely.
intuition and the flow of the water, and not only flowing from one chalice to the other, but also down into the river. It's so metaphorical for our life energy flowing, from mind to heart to intuition and into the planet. I think it's so beautiful. It's really very touching to me. So I would love to look at every card and ask you about the meaning, but I didn't need to know. I didn't need to ask you for my own understanding of the meaning. I just wanted to go back, go through it, and number one, show all our viewers how beautiful this deck is, and also let them see that they can resonate from the heart about what that card would mean to them. So, and what they can do with it, what they can do with the information. So I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the energy of that and of the other books. And you know what? I want to hold up your books as well. All right. This is 28 days, understand Qabalah, 21 days and understand Qabalah. And this is the Qabalah made easy. So all of these things are available. And if you want more information on the Qabalah, definitely look into it. It's fascinating, fascinating, and so profoundly historical. I feel it reaches to and beyond ancient societies. But also know you do not have to get either of those books or understand any of these principles to have a beautiful response and wonderful information from the Tree of Life Oracle deck. So beautiful, so informative and inspiring. So thank you, David. Any last words of guidance you want to tell our wonderful viewers?
I would say if you're lost in a forest, climb a tree because the view is easier to find out where you are, right? Climb the tree. And to say thank
Climb
you
the
as well,
tree.
Sandy. Thank you so much
Absolutely.
for talking. Yeah, climb the tree.
Of course.
Climb your tree. That's the
And
point. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And the tree you can climb is the tree of life. I would definitely
And the
do
higher
that.
you climb,
So
the
thank you
sweeter
so
the
much,
fruit.
David.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you
so,
so
so
much. And
much.
thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a wonderful, wonderful time exploring David's cards. I think you will really love it.